Many reputable studies have been done, and there have been many carefully argued debates supporting the view that religion and spirituality can be valued allies in coping with our health and indeed in preventing many illnesses. I know that so many people hearing that statement would immediately reply, that's ridiculous. Some hold that religion, far from being an ally, it actually contributes to our illnesses and our problems within the social fabric. Religion and spirituality proponents, those who propose that there is a good link, a proper link between religion and spirituality and health and well-being, need to be much more careful, I believe, in stating their case so that we can examine it carefully and see whether it is supportable. Because for the most part, when we get sick, really sick, we probably don't do much about our religion or our spirituality. Every day we can run on confidently, and we can do that for years, taking good health for granted. But one day we become aware that something is not right. We have a dreadful toothache, or we feel sick in the stomach. Our mind has gone into a chaotic worry mode, and we realize that we're not functioning well. Our emotions are all over the place, and our relationships are unpredictable, even out of control. In the span of just a few minutes, several zones of our health can be slipped into uncertainty. Our dental health, our stomach state, our emotional harmony, our behavioural stability, our relationship health. All the parts of us can suddenly slip. And you might think, there's something wrong with me. And then someone says, well, you're getting older. What else can you expect? You're doing too much. You're probably a bit worn out. So many aspects of me are affected. But someone gives me the solution. You are worn out. So who will I go to when all my parts are thus affected? Who will I go to about my state of body, my mind, my relationships, my emotions, my behaviour? Well, probably a good place to start is your doctor. And he or she might say, yes, your blood pressure is a bit high. You are a bit overweight. Are you sleeping? When did you last have a holiday? What did your dentist say about that tooth? Perhaps you should have some blood tests. And while he or she, the doctor, is getting ready to take some blood, they say, do you have friends? Do you go to church? Do you play any sport? And you'll notice that the question about church got lost in the other questions, and it didn't get an answer because we're too busy thinking about sport on television or something else. So today, I'd like to invite you to let us put our heads together a little bit and look at this question, the question that didn't get an answer. Does your religion help you? Does your spirituality have anything to do with your health at all? And you might say, well, no doctor's ever asked me that. Because the doctor knows that religion and spirituality are something apart. That's over there. That's for somebody else, completely separate. Perhaps we do live in parts, after all. But when something is wrong with me, that's me you're talking about, or it's you, if you like. It's the meanness of us, the bits and pieces all add up. I'm not feeling good, doctor. And when some parts of the me get in a mess, get into pain, or into tangles, not only the parts need sorting out, but the full me gets involved. The me. There is that sense of, well, it's me, isn't it, you're talking about? The body me, the mental me, the emotional me, behavior me, the relationship me. And we know that this me, we can feed it. It needs to be fed because it can get starved. It can stand alone, or it searches for togetherness. It can be the agency of inspiration, or it can be the receptacle of stagnation. Me, my me. It could be for growth and my generativity, my future, but it can also be for the bottom rung of the ladder of my negativity and my nihilism. And so I'm often challenged. What is going on inside the person, in their inner world? Yes, they have a bad back. Yes, they have a lot of resentment sitting at the end of their fingertips. They are drinking too much. Their blood pressure is all askew. The whole person, their outer behavior, shows something is not right. Is it the spirit of the person? What is it? If we are in a crisis, a health or an illness crisis, it is probably the wrong time to be invoking a religious answer, going to church. If you're in a lot of pain, or if you have been given a diagnosis of a serious disease, you need the appropriate doctor and the appropriate medical and hospital environment. But at some point, you just might stop. You just might pause. As some of the readings and hymns said today, you just might pause and ask yourself, ask your internal me, what have I been doing to land myself in this state? Where is the essential me been going all this time? Or you might ask a different question. Now that I know what is wrong with me, now that I know that my body parts, some of them or all of me, my body, my mind, my relationship is in trouble, what will best help me? What will help me cope? What allies do I have to help me to recover quickly, to refine my resilience, to renew my sense of hope in the future? What will lift my resistance and restore my me, my inner self, my inner spirit strength? We need that inner spirit strength. If I were to say, well, this is where your religion could help, I would not be the slightest bit surprised if you replied, I've tried all that religious stuff. It doesn't work. Religion, who wants it? The religion I had once has now been forgotten. I've grown beyond it. Religion, well, the chaplain came in and he talked his stuff, but the only person I listened to was the surgeon. And the surgeon would probably say, the chaplain can talk his stuff until he's blue in the face. But what you need is a blood transfusion. Otherwise, you won't be talking to anybody. Or the dentist might say, we need to take that tooth out. And then you can pray a prayer of thanksgiving for the dentist who didn't cause you much pain, or the anesthetic that was an important ally to you. So you see, we're looking at this issue. How do we get back our strength and our resilience when we're in trouble? Spiritual resilience has been found to be a major factor in the United States Army training program. Would you believe it? They train their soldiers in resilience, spiritual resilience, helping them to have a strong enough spirit to cope with the crisis and, of course, the catastrophes. Now, if it is important for the soldiers, for the military, to learn about the resilience of the human spirit, How is it that the churches and religion are terribly silent when it comes to the resilience and training people in the resilience of the human spirit? We would like to define spirit as the essential core within us, that sense of what is me, the deepest sense of who I really am. And spirituality is the journey we're on as we realize the strength and the vitality of that inner spirit, our essential selves. The inner spirit becomes reflected in our mood, in the meanings we give to life, in our relationships, in our resilience, in our pain and in our pleasure, the inner personal self. So there it is. Before I proceed further, then, I'd like to pull over to the shoulder of the road, as it were, and size up what we're really talking about. What are our major health hazards? Well, you know them, don't you? Of course, there's the wide range of diseases that any one of us can run into. Heart disease, kidneys, diabetes, the behavioural hazards, angry outbursts, road behaviour, domestic and street violence, overuse of alcohol, smoking, suicide. And there are the relational hazards, burnout in our relationships, stagnation in our relationships. And there is the emotional ill health, the emotional distress, and the relational negativity and rigidity. So these are the lifestyle diseases, if you like. All of them are part of us. And they can go further to eating disorders, sedentary disorders. In all of these concerns, and more that you might dress around the various ones that I've mentioned, in all these there are 4 questions. If you've got any of those complaints running around you at the moment, blowing through like the wind that we read about, the first question we'd like to ask is, how do we cope with them? The second question is, how do we get the appropriate treatment? Coping, treatment. The third question is, how can we prevent these things from happening? Or if we've already got something going, how can we prevent them getting worse or going into something else, secondary prevention, if you like? And the fourth question, what comforts, what soothes are relevant to us in these various conditions or in the specific condition that is ours? Does your religion help? You know that another time I said in one of these addresses, if your religion doesn't help, be done with it. It needs to be helpful, surely. Well, a man told me he'd bought a new car. Its outward appearance is all there to see. But is the engine any good? And religion, in a way, is like that. Yes, we can recognize the external stuff of religion. But if it doesn't work, if it doesn't get you anything worthwhile from place to place, if you like, then leave it behind. So what do we need in times of our illness? I'm going to name 6 possibilities. What do we need to hold us together? The self, the me, the healthy, whole, harmonious self. Number 1, we want to stay alive. We want to stay alive with a strong, positive sense of who I am. Who am I? I want to stay alive to feel myself being alive and being healthy. A sense of me-ness, being there. Now, does your religion help you do that? Secondly, we need an inner resolve in our times of illness and catastrophe. An inner resolve, a fighting spirit, a resilient spirit, a strength to stay with it, a strength to go on. We might call that resilience, we might call it inner resolve. Does your religion do that? Or thirdly, it helps if there are people around us, doctors, nurses, supportive friends and people, family, supportive people who believe in the possibility of getting better, or who believe in your possibility, you, who want you to recover. The power of supportive people, and thereby the reminders of the goodness of belonging. In the baptism today, we mentioned that important part of the sacrament. It reminds us of our basic belonging. We need that. Does your religion help that? Number 4, we need to be part of what I call selective gratifications. Tell you what it means. If you've suffered a stroke or been in a terrible, terrible accident, or if you have some chronic disease, there may not be much room for you to be grateful or for you to enjoy the gratifications of life. But we need to be alert to find some such gratification. Select something. Maybe a good memory, maybe a good idea, maybe some good piece of art or a poem, the likes of which I read today. Some good thing, a gratification for which we can be grateful. Does your religion do that? Or are you left to just get by best you can? Number 5, I think we need a lift for our life, to lift us out of our immediate pains and to affirm our part in a larger meaning to things. How do we make some good sense out of our bleak situation, if that's what it is? How do we make some good sense out of our everyday situation that might look as if it doesn't have much sense? Life carries us into the darkness of our dips. But from the dips, look to find a lift. Life contains that possibility, a lift. And it comes in many forms. Does your religion bring it to you? The lift after the dip, or the lift while you're in the dip. And number 6, we need to be aware of what I call the fabric of faith. The fabric of faith is there for us. You might reject it, you might not notice it, but I tell you it's there. It's one of the there-ness things of life. It is there waiting for us to see it, waiting for us to hear it, waiting for us to experience it in its various forms. And there are 3 parts, at least, to this fabric. First is, you'll notice that we are constantly bombarded by words, from the pulpit, from the television, wherever you go, there are words. We need to recognize the healing power of a word. Some words are soothing words. Some words are strengthening words. Some words are encouraging words. Some words are inspirational. That's a part of the fabric of faith. One part. Another strand of the fabric of faith is the physical structure of this church, of churches, of synagogues, of temples, of mosques. People may feel no desire to enter these buildings or experience their activities, whatever they might be. But as they travel the world, as we all watch television, we will see the astonishing architecture, the ornate symbols, the decorations and the tapestries, the pulpits and the pews of history, the rich layers and legends of human searching, all part of reminding us of the wider world of humanity that is there, just existing, or something to change us, to transform us. It can be part of the transforming ambience around us. Something to bring life to our fears and our hates and transform them. Although there is so much that would keep our eyes on the ground in front of us, the spires and these places have the power to lift our spirits to higher possibilities. And the third part of the fabric, although there is much to excite us in rock music festivals and all those music performances, we sense another level of inspiration in the music of our hymns and anthems, the organs and the orchestras, the bells wherever they ring out. They seem to change the sound as they ring out, change the soundscape in every city, and even in the smallest country churchyard. The fabric of faith, the three strands, they are there for us to see, they are there for us to walk around, they are there for us to hear, they are there for us to reflect upon, for our health and our sickness. We need such resources. Resources that sustain and expand our health, that help prevent our illnesses, that come to help us cope and recover, that are part of the rebuilding of our resources and our resistance, to restore and reaffirm our reintegration of our meanness from all our parts in their various fragments, in all their flaws, in all their failings, in all their particular illnesses and tragedies. There is that meanness, that core identity, our strength of spirit. So a good religion, is it of any help to you? A helpful religion encourages us to see our health of me, of you, in a larger perspective that recognizes and continually reaffirms your sense of your inner me. Today in the baptism, we said the name, the identity, the belonging, the blessing. There it was, the sense of somebody, one person being at the center of it all and being told you're accepted and blessed. The sense of the inner me. We need a religion that gives a basis to our inner resolve, the strength to go on. Because there are times when we think, I can't go on. We need a religion that points us to the power of supportive people, reminding us of the goodness of belonging, the power of a healing word. We need a religion that tells us to be open to a selective gratitude and gratification. Yes, there's something in your life for which you can be grateful. There is something in your life that flows with a new form of gratification. We need a religion that reminds us that life has its dips, but it points us to the possible lifts. We need a religion that evokes an awareness of the fabric of faith, made known to us in the healing words, the inspiration of music, and the symbols of religion in all its structures and furnishings. In my version of Psalm 51 that I read to you today, it said, time and time again, I struggle with the meaning of my life. I'm aware that the real truth about life is often hidden from me. But through the mystery of it all, I continue to search for the right kind of wisdom. So I empty my inner being of all its negative moods, and I wait for a strong spirit, the wind of God, if you like, to help me be sound once again. May that good spirit renew my spirit. I carry within me, the psalmist says, the full intention of a generous heart. And when I feel it, I then know that I am fully accepted and fully blessed. Would you please stand?